Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Yo. That's Steve-O, our resident Marvel expert, who we've invited in for this very important review of The Avengers, which is now the biggest movie of all time. It opened this weekend, $200 million for its opening weekend. Put that in perspective, that's more than Captain America, Thor, or The Incredible Hulk made in their entire run at the box office, and the Avengers made more than that in just one weekend. So obviously a lot of people have already seen this movie. If you haven't, well, we're gonna break it down for you. So Steve-O, break it down for us. Is it really worth the $200 million that it took in this past weekend? Is it that good?
Going to see it again tonight.
Oh, well, there you go. And that's our review. Hope that helps you out.
But really, yes, I really am going to see it tonight. It's brilliant. It's my favorite, not just it's I think my favorite comic book movie of all time at this point. It had really high expectations. People were freaking out beforehand, and a lot of times, unlike, you know, I think of Green Lantern, which had really high expectations. This was the first movie that, I mean, truly did not let me down in any capacity. Every superhero got their due. Chris Evans was the star to me. He really shined as Captain America. He really led the Avengers. Mark Ruffalo was the surprise.
Best Hulk movie ever.
Agreed. Best Iron Man movie ever. Best Captain America movie ever. Best Thor movie ever. Every single character. Joss Whedon got the very best out of his guys, and it shined. The humor was right on. It didn't take itself too seriously, but the moments that it needed to be serious were spot on. It had you laughing and crying and jumping up and down and screaming and throwing things. It was my favorite movie experience, I think, of all time.
It is a lot of fun. And also, you know, for me as a reviewer, as a Christian reviewer, I was kind of giggling to myself because I'm taking notes. I'm like, you're just making this too easy, you know, to pull out some salient points to discuss from a biblical perspective. My favorite, I loved Hawkeye and Black Widow, and they're the only ones that I wish there would have been more of them in this movie, because they had some great moments. It's kind of like the normal, average, everyday humans trying to comprehend things that are way beyond their experience. Gods and magic and superheroes and all that stuff, and they're the normal ones. But I like where it kind of got into a little bit of Black Widow's past. And she's an assassin, and she used her skills at one time for whoever. She didn't care. And now she's trying to make up for that. And she has this scene with Loki where she talks about her ledger being red, and she's trying to wipe that clean. And that really jumped out at me, because how many of us, you know, maybe we don't have a red ledger. I haven't killed anyone anyway. I'm not an assassin. You're probably happy to know that. But my ledger isn't clean. No. I mean, the truth of the matter the truth of the matter is, even if you have the smallest speck on your ledger, it's not good enough. Right. You know, there's nothing we can do. No heroics that we can do to be good enough to get into heaven, to meet God's standard. Jesus Christ died on the cross, and in doing so, he took our ledgers, crucified them on the cross with him, and then handed us a perfectly clean one in return through his resurrection. So I loved that whole talk, and it comes up a couple times. It does. Trying to wipe the ledger clean. And that wasn't the only thing that you could discuss from this movie. And there's lots of other things that you could talk about. And then, of course, the big concern is it okay for kids?
I took my 8- and 6-year-old, and I'm taking them again tonight. It was fantastic. If they could handle the likes of Thor or Captain America, and you know, better than the Iron Mans, because there's always that one scene with Tony Stark you have to fast forward.
Tony Stark and the ladies.
Devoid of that in the Avengers, so they didn't have time. The world is ending. They had to do something. He didn't have time to make out. So it was honestly brilliant. I can't wait to see it again.
I took my girls, and you know, I was talking with them afterwards. I knew there was one scene I didn't want them to watch that was, you know, a little vicious. And so,
I have boys.
Yeah, I have boys, so it's different. And then there was a couple of scenes where they were scared, but they handled it just fine. So yeah, you know, like 10 or so is probably age appropriate. Again, it depends on how you've raised your kids. If they've never seen a comic book movie ever before in their entire life, this is not the one to start them with.
No, you need to see Captain America, Thor, Iron Man 1 and 2, and The Incredible Hulk.
Because this one's just a little extreme. I would start them on something like The Incredibles and then work your way up.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's what he meant to say.
That's what I meant to say.
That's what he meant. Start slow. But anyway, rating for the Avengers.
7 out of 7.
7 out of 7.
Don't even have to bat an eye.
Doesn't even have to hesitate. 7. I'll give it a 6 out of 7. There are a couple times where the movie does wobble just a little bit because there's so many characters to balance, so many plot threads and whatnot. It never derails, which is amazing.
Ever.
But there are just a few times where you're like, man, I would have liked a little bit more, or we're wandering off a little. Okay, now we're back. So, but Joss Whedon did a brilliant job. So 6 out of 7. And if you want to read the full review, you can check out GameAndMovieGuide.com. Also, more coverage at HollywoodJesus.com. And to keep up whenever we post reviews, videos, and all the rest that we do, be sure to follow us at Facebook, Facebook.com/GameAndMovieGuide. Thanks, Marvel guy.
Of course.